Now in second part we started with a calorific value of a fuel. So firstly, what is the calorific value? The amount of heat produced by burning of 1 gram of fuel completely, that is called a calorific value. Okay, means हमारे पास 1 ग्राम फ्यूल है, ठीक है। उस फ्यूल को जब हम बर्न करेंगे, जितनी अमाउंट की हीट प्रोड्यूस होगी, उस हीट को, उस अमाउंट ऑफ हीट को हम क्या कहेंगे? कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू। ओके, द अमाउंट ऑफ हीट एनर्जी रिलीज बाय अ यूनिट क्वांटिटी ऑफ फ्यूल। यूनिट क्वांटिटी मीन्स you take a 1 gram of fuel on complete combustion in oxygen is called a calorific value, and the unit of calorific value is kilojoules. For example, LPG gas produces 50,000 joules when it burns, or means that 50,000 joule is the calorific value of LPG gas. So in a table 5.1 there are some calorific values of fuels. Okay, next is categories of a good fuel. First is it should be cheap. Good fuel is should be cheap and easily available. Second is it should have high calorific value, because if a substance have a high calorific value, it produces less smoke or less pollution through a fuel. Third is it should neither burn too fast or not too slow. In other words, the ignition temperature of fuel should be fairly low. Means the ignition temperature of a fuel should be low. Next is the fuel on combustion should not produce harmful gases. Next, last is the fuel should be safe to handle, store and transport. Next is burning of fuels generate harmful products. We all know that every fuel produces harmful gases in the presence of air, and the maximum gas that is produced while burning is called as a carbon dioxide. So firstly, on burning fuels like coal, wood, petroleum release unburnt carbon particles in the environment, and that unburnt carbon particles causes respiratory problems, that is called as asthma. Moreover, we use a wood in rural areas as a cooking fuel, but for getting a wood we have to cut a large number of trees, and it causes a deforestation which increases the temperature of our earth, and temperature of our earth which gives a very hazardous effect to our environment. Next is when any substance burn in the insufficient amount of oxygen, it produces a harmful gases like carbon monoxide, which is very poisonous, and when this gas is go into the atmosphere, it also increase the temperature of earth and causes or helps in the global warming. Next is the main process that we responsible for the increase in temperature, that is global warming, with the help of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases that is present in the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane gas, these are the gases, greenhouse gases, and when a temperature of earth increases, it melts the glaciers, ice caps, and it forms natural disasters like causing flood in the coastal areas. Next is fuels like coal and diesel have sulfur impurities. Okay, when oxides of nitrogen and sulfur goes into the atmosphere and mix with the oxygen or air, it forms a acid rain which is very harmful for the agriculture processes and for buildings also, and natural biodiversity. Next is principle of extinguishing fire. First is, for the combustion, the three conditions are necessary. First is a presence of fuel supporter and a attainment of a ignition temperature. So the principles for a fire extinguishers, first is removing all the combustible substances from the site of the fire. Second is cutting down or cutting off the supply of supporter of combustion. मीन सबसे पहले हमें वो सब्सटेंसेस रिमूव करने चाहिए जिसको जो फायर है वो सबसे ज़्यादा कैच करती है, ठीक है. सेकेंड इज़ जो कोई भी सप्लाई है हमारे आसपास, तो उसके हमें क्या है, पहले उस सप्लाई को कट करना चाहिए, चाहे वो इलेक्ट्रिकल सप्लाई है, ठीक है, और ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई है. नेक्स्ट इज़ ब्रिंगिंग डाउन द टेम्परेचर ऑफ बर्निंग सब्सटेंस. जो सब्सटेंस है उसका जो टेम्परेचर है इग्निशन टेम्परेचर से लो करना चाहिए, जिससे क्या है वो फायर को कैच नहीं कर पाएगा. ओके, सो वाटर एज अ फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर. फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर मीन्स अ सब्सटेंसेस दैट हेल्प्स टू स्टॉप द फायर. ओके, जो वाटर है, वाटर क्या करता है, इट इज़ द मोस्ट कॉमन फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर विच कूल्स द कंबस्टन सब्सटेंसेस बिलो इट्स इग्निशन टेम्परेचर. ओके, बट जो वाटर है उसको हम तब नहीं ही यूज़ कर सकते जब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से फायर लगी हो, क्योंकि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज़ अ गुड कंडक्टर, वाटर इज़ अ गुड कंडक्टर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एंड इट कैचेस अ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी टू a person that throw water on it. Next is we cannot put water on oil also. Oil fires also, like petrol, oil, because oil is heavier than water, so water is sink and oils float on the water and it also spreads through a many area. Next is first fire extinguisher is water, and the second fire extinguisher, that is carbon dioxide. You have seen that cylindrical fire extinguishers are held in buses also, in schools, hospitals, because these are the carbon dioxide filled cylinders which helps to prevent the fire accidents, because when we put a fire extinguisher cylindrical gas on fires, it cut the supply of oxygen that is present inside the environment and helps to reduce or stops the fire immediately. Next is carbon dioxide that is stored in the cylinders are in liquid form at high temperature. When we release that carbon dioxide at the site of fire, it comes out in the form of vapors and expand into that area and helps to cut the supply of oxygen around the fire and also brings the temperature down. So some substances that is used instead of carbon dioxide, that is sodium bicarbonate and potassium bicarbonates in that cylinders to cut off the supply of oxygen. So we have learned in this chapter the process of combustion, what are the combustible substances, ignition temperature, the temperature at or above which a substance starts burning, Inflammable substances are the substances that catches fires easily or immediately. Rapid combustion, that catches fire at very high speed with the release of huge amount of heat and light. Spontaneous is a combustion that suddenly bursts into flame without any external heat. Explosion is the evaluation of gas with the production of tremendous amount of heat, light and sound also. Next is flame. In flame, we learn the luminous and non-luminous flames, fuels and calorific value. Calorific value is the amount of heat produced by burning 1 gram of fuel completely. So, I hope you will understand this chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.